Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or the guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles here on MS&Me Radio, which is brought to you by the Global MS Support Network. I'm your host, Patty Long, and you can find me at MS in It for Life, and I spell that MSENIT, the number 4, LIFE. It's this is going to be like a crazy show for me because I have just returned from the UK. I've spent time, wonderful time, on board the Lady of Avenel and gotten to do the sailing challenge that the Oceans of Hope brought to me. And I did that. I left from Oban, Scotland, and then I went back to England, to Sheffield, where Tony Hadfield and his family live. And Tony, if you remember, I've told y'all about him a lot. He did the wobbly walk across the UK in honor of his late wife and his brother, who also had MS. And, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet his brother. His brother passed away just before I got there, which was really, really sad. But these things do happen, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to meet the entire family, even if it wasn't the best of times, under the greatest circumstances. But everybody there was extra nice, and everybody there treated me in the way that we should all be treated, and my heart really went out to everyone in the family because this is such a huge loss for them. And unfortunately, David was sick and he didn't know it. He couldn't feel anything and he didn't know how sick he was, and it didn't show up on him. And fortunately, from my point of view, he passed away in his sleep. So quietly, that to me is always a blessing. If somebody is going to pass away, if it's their time to leave this world, then the best way is in your own bed, asleep, unaware, no pain. So for that, I am thankful. But even with that, I couldn't imagine what Grams and Grumps, who I call Pops, he just wasn't as grumpy as all that, so I couldn't call him Grumps, but I called him Pops. But they were just beautiful people, and were doing everything they could to just, let me be me and to take care of me. And then Tony, of course, was showing me around and showing me the sights of everything around the area, and we had a blast. I have never laughed so much. I have never smiled so much. And it was just an amazing time for me. And his daughters, Adele and Charlotte, and their families and their children, their husbands. And I mean, this was such a happy place and such a happy family. It's the kind of thing that dreams are made of, I guess you could say. And MS or no MS, we are all accepted. And that was the point of the trip, to meet other people with MS who were going through things and defying the odds, and people who just lived life. And that was the whole point of my going, was to live life. And everybody was just fantastic. And I can't imagine having to deal with this little energetic, overly excited, very talkative American at that. So, and deal with the loss of your son, your brother, your uncle. It's just overwhelming to me. So my trip there was amazing. My time spent there was the best times of my life. But then came the damper. Okay, first we stayed up all day because I had to catch a train in the middle of the night. And the train would take me to the Manchester airport. Made the train. Didn't miss my train. Sat there on the train waving goodbye and playing peekaboo and just being silly and being me. And a little while later, the train stops and we all have to get off. Last stop, last call. And we were at the Manchester airport. And so you have to go up this ramp thing, and some steps and all this. And you go around and follow the signs. But I couldn't read the signs because my vision is so crappy. So I just kept asking people, I need to find, the terminal for Aer Lingus. Where is Aer Lingus? So they would say, well, follow the sign that says blah, blah, blah. And I would say, okay. And then I'd get to the next junction and I'd ask somebody again because, again, I can't read the signs. My vision is great enough, but crappy enough, I mean, it just is what it is. 20/40 is about the best I get. And that's not real great for reading signs unless they're ginormous signs, which they weren't. So anyways, I found the right place and I get there and I tell them who I am and that I need my help. I have cognitive issues. I have vision issues. I will get lost. Give me a hand. So they pop me in a wheelchair. Now, I can walk just fine, but that was the only way to get the kind of services that I needed, was to be popped into a wheelchair. So I suck it up and I do this because I don't need to be lost in the airport. But apparently this airport, the Manchester, England airport, is not friendly to people with disabilities. Not at all friendly to people with disabilities. And I want to stress this because when I researched what airlines to fly with, I came up with Aer Lingus and JetBlue as being the friendliest for people with disabilities of any type, including cognitive difficulties. And that part was true. Aer Lingus and JetBlue were fabulous. I did not have a single problem on the way out of the U.S. and into England. But going the other way was a different story, because I did not research the actual airport. I knew about the Charlotte airport, but I did not research the airport in Manchester, England. Oh my gosh, what a mistake that was. These people were awful. I had a letter from my doc and from his office on their letterhead stating what medications that, I would be traveling with this bag full of medications, both prescription and non-prescription, and that some of these were gels. Well, they threw away my gels. Now, the gels were not in the 3.4 ounce, 100 milliliter size, because they're not available in that size. So the smallest size they were available in was like 6 or 7 ounces. Maybe a little more. I don't have the container anymore to tell you, because they threw it away. And I told them, I said, this is for the itching and burning. It's what I use to stop itching and burning, which I do quite a lot of itching and burning, and have been really badly since they threw it away. They also, I didn't see them throw it away, but at some point, another medicine of mine, the oxycodone, the Percocet, the old form of oxycodone, got lost. It magically disappeared. Now, it may have been Ben too. I don't know. But the girl that was telling me that I couldn't have my meds got me very upset when she binned and started binning my stuff. And rightfully so. And I didn't understand why. So somebody else comes over and says, because it doesn't have a P on it. Okay, so if I had written the letter P on the product, then it would have been okay. I don't get that, because, they didn't throw away my vitamins, my gel tabs. Those are gels, right? But they didn't throw those away, and those were in a bigger size container too. So, it's just ridiculous that first they threw this away. And then what happened next? Well, next, they start dumping out my stuff as they have me separated from my things. So they dumped out all my bags. Now, they scratched up everything that I had in my bag, including Michael Yeti, who is, I name my stuff, y'all. Okay, I can't help it. I just had to have a name for him. So Michael Yeti is my microphone. And they've got Michael scratched up, and I was really afraid he wasn't going to work, but he is working. So thankfully he's not completely broken, and he just looks a mess. They scratched up the CDs that my friend Tony made for me of British music. Everybody on there was an English singer or band. And some of the songs I knew, some of the songs I didn't know. And the songs that I did know were often different from what was recorded. Because for some reason, a lot of the music was cut, and I don't understand that. Why would we cut the song and take out the fantastic solo, the drum solo, the guitar solo, or the piano solo, or whatever it was, or the words? Why would we take out regular words? I mean, I kind of would understand if they were taking out, ugliness, but they weren't. They were just chopping up the songs and then putting them back together, and some of them were even in the wrong order, I think. But anyways, they scratched those CDs in the process, and they were well wrapped up. I don't know why they had to take it all apart, and I don't know why they were banging my stuff around. They even scratched up my computer, which, I took my computer and my camera and all that stuff and my phone. I had to give it to them. So I have no pictures of what they were doing because they had to have everything, right? Everything had to be in their little bins. And my computer should not have been scratched up. My phone should not have had things dropped on it. The stuff out of my bags should never have been dumped. And I do mean dumped. They literally turned it over and dumped it out and were looking for things. I don't know quite what things they suspected that I was going to have on me, but they suspected something. So I'm sitting in my wheelchair, and they have me off to the side, and they've got this little wand thing, and they start rubbing it on my hands. Instant burn, people. Instantly burned. They had to do the back sides and the front sides and the in-betweens, as I call it, when I'm trying to get my grandbabies to wash their whole hands. We do the front sides, back sides, and the in-betweens so that we get everything clean. Well, that's what they did. Now, I don't know what they expected to find inside my hands. They also needed to do knees, and they also needed to touch me everywhere. And I do mean pretty much everywhere. By the time the girl got finished molesting me almost, let's use it as an assault, that's the way it felt, I was wheeled over to my things, and the girl was starting to just cram everything back in the bag, and I became furious at that, because she was really going to break everything if she just crammed stuff back in the bag. So I insisted on packing it myself and packing it back correctly, which I did. And the whole entire time I was packing it, she was screaming at me. The little girl that had dumped everything out and went through all my clothes, all my underwear, everything for no apparent reason. And plus my souvenirs, which thankfully did not get broken because, I was bringing some things back for my children. I had something for my oldest son. He has a little black sheep tattoo on his chest, and his sheep is wearing rollerblades, and it's the cutest little thing. And me and him both were we're so similar, you know. We really are in our personalities and our excitability and things like that. So um, I brought him a sheep, and his little black sheep, well, black face sheep. It's got black face and black paws, and um, it was attached to my jacket. But the other things I had were breakable, and they were in a box and packed nice and neat in the box, and then put clothes inside the spaces of that. You know, I used socks and underwear, and they ripped all of it out. Why? They could tell what was inside it when they x-rayed it. So why? But I packed everything back, and while this girl just screamed and hollered at me about how I was holding up the line, do you really think I cared at this point if I held up her line? Because she was tearing up my things and had already torn up many, including my mic. And I'm really, really, really upset that my things were thrown away. Or I should say, not my things, but my medicines were thrown away. My things were scratched up, torn up. Things that were very special to me were torn up because this airport decided that this little bitty person that I am must be carrying drugs inside their body somewhere or inside their stuff somewhere. So because I have cognitive difficulties, because I'm skinny, because I wear a headband, okay, because they throw away my medication and I become upset, I must be carrying illegal substances. Yeah, right. So do not, and I repeat, do not, people, use Manchester Airport if you are going to England. If you're going to England, find a different airport to land in and take a train to where you're going. It would be much simpler than having to fool with Manchester Airport, who even has a link that says about how helpful they will be to people with disabilities. Wrong! Very wrong. They need to take that down. I couldn't be more furious with this airport, and it was the most awful experience. And it really, 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 was a bad ending for the most wonderful trip that I have ever experienced in my life. And it was absolutely the worst thing possible. So then I go on from there. And I am just so upset. Tears rolling down my face upset. Because this girl had basically, assaulted me. And in her hunting for the drugs that I had stuck inside my body somewhere, and because my things were damaged and my meds were gone, just gone. I'd still like to know what happened to the oxycodone, because I did not see that one being thrown away. And I get a 90-day script of those, y'alls. And I get 30 pills for my 90 days. And that's it. And those are emergency meds. Now, I had quite a few left because my 90 days were not even going to be 90 days. This time it was going to be 120 days because of 90 days ending when I first got to England. So I didn't go to that appointment. That 3-month appointment was put off to 4 months. So I haven't been yet. But 30 pills for 90 days, and those are just for emergencies. And usually I still have a good many left. And I did this time too, even though I did the sailing trip, even though I ran around all over Sheffield, England. And I loved it. It was a wonderful place to be. And so I don't know. Did somebody pocket it? Did they decide that they wanted it because they saw the words oxycodone at the top? And it's not Loratabs, and it's certainly not whatever the next generation after Loratabs called that I can't think of at the moment. But these are the old-fashioned ones, the Percocets. And they're emergency meds to work alongside of another med that I have for muscle spasm attacks. And thankfully, I didn't have any. I had one, actually. I shouldn't say I didn't have any. I had one muscle spasm attack the whole entire time I was gone. And that was when I tried to do yoga. I have decided yoga is not for me. It definitely aggravated the sciatic nerve when I did the bend over to the side thing. But anyways, my time is up. And remember, stay away from the Manchester, England airport. It is the most awful place ever. You will be molested if you have an issue cognitively, because they will automatically think you are a drug mule. So, with that, I'm going to leave you guys because my time's gone. And I love you. Thank you very much for listening. If it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be here. And I'm sorry that I'm so aggravated and ill. But next week I'll be better. So this week, alongside of me, I want you to practice smiling every single day. Find that reason to smile, and smile really big, and smile really often, and smile at everybody and everything you see, and laugh. Laugh a lot. Laugh till your cheeks hurt. Laugh till you feel it all the way down your core. And love yourself, every bit of yourself, including the wackiness of MS, including the cognitive screw-ups, including getting your words backwards, including whatever things happen. Love yourself, people. And that's the best advice that I can give to anybody, is to remember to love all of them, which does include what happens in our MS world. So, just it's hard to do, I know, but remember, love yourself. Love yourself first, last, and always. Bye, guys.